I got to think Austin's changed a bit since you were here. And what years was that, Bill? In 60. Oh man, has it ever? Yeah, it's. I'll promise you. Driving down Guadalupe in 1966 was kind of interesting, wasn't it? And it was quite a place. Still pretty interesting. As a matter of fact, I think there's some people that were there in '66 still there. If I'm right on that. So. Here's what's remarkable from my perspective is, yeah, Austin's changed, but how much our country's changed since you headed out of town with your PhD, and I think in particular the influence of Ronald Reagan that you mentioned, how much influence he had, and I recall a speech that he made in 1977 as our country was kind of sliding off into then what seemed like an abyss. It was, a lot of hand wringing and crying and a lot of navel gazing going on in Washington D.C. and that 4-year period of time. I refer to it simply as the Carter presidency. But Reagan's ideas weren't new. I mean, that's the interesting thing about Ronald Reagan is that his ideas weren't new. They were fundamental ideas. They were just as effective sitting around a dinner table at night with your family as they were about the governance of our country. He illustrated that with what I still think is an incredibly classic line. He said, when a conservative says it's a bad day for the government to spend more than it takes in, he is simply showing the same common sense that tells him to come in out of the rain. I could have heard that in Paint Creek, Texas, Bill. I mean, that's simplistic but powerful things came from that man. That sentiment still applies today. And if I might say so, it's the key to the success that we're enjoying here in Texas. That's why today I joined with Lieutenant Governor Dewhurst, with Speaker Strauss, in requesting more belt tightening in our state agencies. And in light of what Comptroller Combs' November report described as a substantially weakening revenue stream, we got to cut our spending now and stay ahead of this budget challenge that we're going to face. Together, Lieutenant Governor, Speaker, and I have asked state agencies to submit a plan detailing savings of up to 5% that will minimize the impact on direct services. We run a lean operation here in the state of Texas. So, the fact of the matter is, those cuts aren't going to be easy. But we've taken this tack before. Talmadge, in 2003, sir, following your great leadership and working together, we did it. And it works. Texans depend on us to make tough decisions in tough times, just like we did back in 2003. And the state of things in our country back in '77 and the circumstances that we deal with today are really not all that much different. People still want what people have always wanted, and that's freedom. They want to live their lives free of oppression, to make a dollar and keep as much of it as possible, have a safe place to live. If the Obama administration keeps up their first year's pace, I'm pretty sure I'm going to run out of fingers here soon to count the misguided programs and efforts like the health care debacle, the job-killing cap-and-trade bill that they pitched out there, this education reform that they came up with this last week that attempts to entice states into surrendering their autonomy. And what blew me away was, I guess they thought we were a cheap date, Senator. I mean, an amount of money, Charlie, $75 per student. Robert Scott, I thought, put it in pretty good perspective. He said that's how the total amount of money that they were trying to blackmail us into giving up our autonomy in this state equals to 2 days budget of running our schools in the state of Texas. We declined, Bill. We said no thank you. We didn't want to be a part of that race to the top, as they refer to it, because we were not going to surrender our children's future to a bunch of bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. And just this morning, the State Board of Education, I might add, unanimously. How long has it been since the State Board of Education voted on anything unanimously? I mean, seriously. They voted unanimously to adopt a resolution expressing support for my stand against national standards and national tests. That is worth a clap. Indeed it is. Texas has continued to send messages. We're sending a message that we will not blindly follow initiatives simply because they emanate out of Washington, D.C. And as you heard from Senator John Cornyn yesterday, Congress can learn a lot from Texas, from the conservative leadership that emanates from this state, from our fiscal conservativeship. Here in Texas, we have principled leaders. We've been working hard to hold down the spending and the taxes, working hard, and I might add, working together. We have reformed our legal system, continually pursued a more predictable regulatory climate, combined with a whole lot of effort by hard-working Texans. I don't get confused about the core of this state's soul is its people. They set priorities, just like we set priorities in this legislature, Tim. The fruit of those labors are very tangible and they're measurable. For example, in October and November, Texas recorded the largest over-the-month increases in employment of any state in the country. And as of the latest report, we still have the lowest unemployment rate of the nation's 10 largest states. In fact, Texas is the only one of the top 10 states that has more jobs today than they did before this country started into that long slide in 2006. For the bean counters in the audience, which is a lot of you, that means we're up nearly 192,000 jobs since 2006. That might be why publications like CEO Magazine considers Texas the best place in this country to do business. Moody's Economy lists 7 Texas metropolitan areas among their first cities to emerge out of the recession. Our job-friendly approach is likely why the Small Business and Entrepreneurial Council ranked Texas in the top 3 for small business and entrepreneurship. Employers understand that Texas gets it when it comes to jobs. They understand that we want them here and that we're doing everything that we can to lure them here, as Bill shared with you. When I travel, I'm recruiting somebody to come to the state of Texas. We're making a difference in our future workplace. We're grooming that next level and layer of entrepreneurs that are going to take over these businesses. We're improving our public education system. Stephen Moore is here in the audience somewhere with the Wall Street Journal. Stephen, where are you? Just wave so I can see him in the back or somewhere. And the fact is, he and I were talking about the improvements that we're seeing in our public schools now, and that word now is starting to get out across the country. And because we had a reputation back through some years that our schools weren't quite up to snuff. It's a highly technical Aggie term I'll explain to you later.